back to the NC State Insider Podcast. I am your host and lead beat writer, Tucker Sennett, joining you here today to discuss kind of the hot topic around NC State football, and it has nothing to do with the current team. It has to do with a program legend that is Philip Rivers making his return to professional football. Rivers signed with the Colts practice squad on Monday after the Colts lost their starting quarterback, Daniel Jones, and potentially will be without their backup rookie quarterback, Riley Leonard, who I'm sure a lot of NC State fans are familiar from his days with Duke before he went to Notre Dame and helped them get to the national championship a season ago. But what a crazy, 24 hours. Philip Rivers, an NC State legend, played it for the Wolfpack from 2000 to 2003. I would say most NC State fans would say he's the greatest football player to come through NC State outside of maybe Roman Gabriel. But in terms of like the modern era of football, he is certainly second to none, I would say. Just an incredible college career. Was a phenomenal player, passed for over 13,000 yards and 95 touchdowns in college, rushed for another 17 during his time with NC State, and has, several records that are still in place with the program. But, fast forward a lot of years, Rivers goes on to have a lengthy NFL career that lasted almost 20 years. And now he is back with the Colts, the team that he finished his career with at age 44. If he were to play, he would be by far the oldest quarterback in the NFL this season. Aaron Rodgers is 42. He's the oldest that has played a game this year, but Rivers would certainly pass him as his 44th birthday was on Monday. So the question I want to ask, and now that I've caught you all up on, Philip Rivers, the connections to NC State and all of that is, can Philip Rivers still play in an NFL game in 2025? For context, Rivers last played in 2020 with the Colts. He helped them get to the uh, the postseason, and they lost to the Bills 27-24 in the wild card round in 2020 again, as I said. Um, and he retired. He wanted to walk away. He went and he's been coaching his son's high school team, St. Michael Catholic High School in Fairhope, Alabama. His son is now a four-star recruit. They were just out here in Raleigh for a visit. The running back for that team, Noah Moss, is a three-star commit to NC State football for next year, the class of 2026. So Rivers has been connected with NC State throughout this time. Whether or not Gunner, his son, the four-star quarterback, ends up becoming the quarterback for the Wolfpack remains to be seen. He's a class of 2027 recruit. So we'll have to, wait and gauge that. But I think there's no love lost for the NC State program for Rivers. And it seems that all the rumors indicate that he's been staying in playing shape this entire time. I know Pat McAfee is not always the most reliable of sources, but when it comes to the Colts, he's usually on it. And he said that Rivers has been in game shape. People around the building were pretty impressed when he came in and looked the way that he did. And so I think that was a major reason the Colts were willing to do this. On top of that, the other reason is Rivers installed the Colts offense for St. Michael Catholic. So Noah Moss and Gunnar Rivers both played in that system of sorts. Obviously it's not going to be as complicated as the NFL scheme, but I'm sure, a lot of these same intricacies that the Colts have been at the front of Rivers' mind. He has a really close relationship with Shane Steichen, the head coach of the Colts. The two work together with the Chargers, and then have stayed connected and reportedly have had weekly conversations about the offense over the course of the season. Of course, if you're familiar with what's going on with the Colts, they had sort of a miracle start to the season with Daniel Jones leading the way. Looked like they could be kind of the shock Super Bowl contender. Things have tapered off a little bit of late, and now you lose Jones, and you're in a little bit of a pickle. So enter Rivers. Here's Rivers, 44 years old, you know, more than 20 years removed from his days at NC State, and still dominating the news cycle here in Raleigh. Can he, will he play? I think there's more than a non-zero chance that he is on the field. I think if Indianapolis feels as though he gives them the best chance to win any given game, even if Riley Leonard starts a game, I could very much see them pulling the plug on him and just going right to Rivers because he's been there. He knows what it's like to play, and I know the body is there's no way that the body is what it used to be at age 44. It's just not feasible. But Tom Brady took his licks at that age and was able to get back up. And I know Philip Rivers isn't Tom Brady, but he's pretty damn good and was a suitor for the best quarterback of that era, certainly in individual years. So if all the reports are true that he stayed in game shape, that he's more muscular than he's ever been, and there's no concerns about the punishment he might take, then I could absolutely see Rivers in like a ground and pound offense with just some hard play action stuff going on. And the Colts roster is if there were ever a roster that was perfect for this kind of scenario, it's the Colts. They built through the trenches. They have a phenomenal offensive line from left to right. They have a bell cow running back that is, re-emerging as one of the best, if not the best in the NFL this season in Jonathan Taylor. So I could easily see Rivers plugging right in and being able to hand the ball off to Taylor 25 to 30 times in a game. And when they have to complete a pass, they do it. But this team has, the makeup to survive this if they do in fact have to go to Rivers. It would be really, really interesting to watch from a just a fan perspective of football because like how would defenses attack a team with a 44-year-old quarterback? Like can he still be a threat down the field? Rivers was always kind of, getting made fun of for that shot put arm motion during his time, but it was effective. And obviously there's questions about whether he can still do that at age 44. If I had to guess right now, I think the Colts could win a game with Philip Rivers. I think, yeah, he's 22 years removed from playing at NC State, but I think if there were ever a quarterback, the consummate gunslinger, it's Philip Rivers. I grew up with him. I know what this guy's capable of, and I really do think he could be an effective quarterback at least in a stint here, and help this Colts team a little bit. That's my 10 cents. You can take it or leave it if you want it, but that's just the feeling that I get with this. Obviously, a very cool moment for Rivers and his family, for his kids potentially get to watch him play in the NFL. His son, who has aspirations to play professionally, of course, given the fact that he's a four-star recruit, would get to see his dad firsthand, back on the gridiron, which I think would be pretty cool at this age. And it's I'm sure pretty cool for some of Rivers' teammates from NC State from back in the day to watch. And he gets to join a fellow Wolfpack alum in Indianapolis and linebacker Jermaine Pratt, a guy who has kind of revived his season in Indianapolis after leaving a Raiders team that is wholly dysfunctional and a complete dumpster fire. So, some more Wolfpack connections on this Colts roster that are certainly of note. That's all I got on the Philip Rivers situation. I will keep you all updated on how that is going throughout the coming week. And, if he gets a game, I will be sure to break it down to the best of my ability and keep you all informed. As always, thanks for tuning in. If you want more NC State content, go ahead and throw me a follow on X at Senate Tucker. You can also follow the website on X at Wolfpack on SI, and of course, subscribe to the sports videos on SI YouTube channel for daily episodes of the NC State Insider Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, folks, and we will see you next time.